Welcome back to Gametime Greatness, Season 12. I have no idea what episode we're on, but I am your host, Jake Vassar, also known as Rex.
It's game time. Game time. Game time. We winning, we winning, we winning, we winning. It's game time. Game time.
I have no co-host today, doing this in solo. Hopefully we'll keep it under like 12 minutes. So let's get into it. I'm going to do week 4 recap, and then I'm going to give my advice through 4 weeks of like one or two action items that I would do if I owned everyone else's team. And then we'll finish up with week 5 picks. So week 4 recap. First up, we have Parker and CC. Parker beat CC. Goff was a nice start. Philly defense showed up. They've been amazing all season for you. And you had 60 points in your flex, which is absurd. Honestly, really good team. I did not see that after the draft, but man, have they showed up. 4-0 start. Beginner's luck, some are saying, but congratulations on 4-0. That's pretty awesome. Next up, we have Jarvis and Cole. Jarvis, he got 170 and he goosed. So don't really know how that happens. Miles Sanders is good. I know Jarvis didn't like that draft pick, but he's been pretty solid for him, and he has a great wide receiver room with Hill, Higgins. Next up, we have Matt and Grant. This is the old friendly rivalry showdown that everyone likes to see. Matt scored 193, big bounce back. I think he was 0-3 before this, so that's big time. Really top to bottom, all the starters and bench all scored really well. His margin of victory is pretty much the kicker and defense overscoring Grant's kicker and defense, which is really funny. Sorry, Grant. And another thing is the Detroit Lions RB room, I think really played a role in this game. Grant had Swift, who was out, and then Matt was able to start whatever Jay Willie. There's a bunch of Jay Willies in the league. Next up, we have Mike and Noah. Mike beat Noah and ended up causing a trade between them two. Speaking of, I mean, come on, guys. 4 trades this year in 4 weeks. Good job. That's awesome. But they traded. It was Herbert and Elijah Moore for Kirk Cousins, Bateman, and Keenan Allen. Mike basically just sent over a bunch of injured players and got Herbert and Elijah Moore, which a lot of people are saying Noah fleeced him. Noah probably got the better end of the trade, but those guys aren't even playing right now, and they're contributing 0 points to his team. And I also don't, being Jake, don't have to play Herbert anymore this week, which is awesome. So interesting. And then Mike, I mean, he was cashing in his deep receivers for a starter. So I mean, I don't hate it. I think our league undervalues QB. So I think it's not a bad pick or not a bad trade. Mike is now really light on receivers, which is a bummer. He has got a lot of RB depth, especially with Brian Robinson coming back. So that's actually really exciting for him. Next matchup, we have Brandon and Ethan. Hawkinsmith had the second highest tight end score, I think, of all time. It's just a stat I read. I don't really know. But that's really cool. And I mean, that's what happens when you have Swift out and Sun got out. So he was 0-3, came back. Team looks good. I think that breathed some life into him. I know he's getting really bummed out about the season so far. And then last matchup was Zach beating Jake. I'm talking in third person because that Jake last week, I don't know who that was. 109 points, who? But anyway, Debo had a nice revenge game on Monday night. Honestly, that's probably the sweetest way to win is to have your first couple round guys be playing on Monday night. And they, that's a dream. That's a dream. Congrats, Zach. All right, moving into the advice section. I'm going to go in alphabetical order. Just easier. So, all right. So with Brandon, I'm thinking you got to cut 2 of your Giants. Like you got 3 Giants in your team. I don't know what your deal is. Just leave them. Tony's the only good one. Stick with Tony. Move on. And then to the Giants point, I'm just saying, this is just a little tip. Last year, Carolina Panthers were 3-1 through 4 weeks. This year, the New York Giants are 3-1 this year. What is the similarity? These are both bad teams that started good because of a bad schedule. Carolina Panthers last year, they beat the Jets, the Saints, and the Texans. Horrible teams, and then they end up losing to the Cowboys. Giants have beat the Titans, the Panthers, the Bears, and lost to the Cowboys. Sounds awfully familiar. They have pieces that you'd want, McCaffrey to Saquon, or I have no idea who the Giants have in the receiver room, but like last year, I was hoping DJ Moore finally break out. At the end of the day, it's just a bad team. It's bad coaching, bad quarterback play. Just lose it. Like Daniel Jones is not the guy. Not the guy. Moving on to CC. I mean, come on, man. Bench the players that have that out. That's what that little O means. All right. Bench those guys and fill your roster. You got an empty bench spot right now. Just fill it with like a backup running back. That's gonna help you out. Drop Albert O. He's trash. You look at his snap percentage, it dropped from 100% or 90% down to he had 2% last week, so that's one play. And then he got like 20-ish percent this past week. It's like, forget him. If you watched him last night in that atrocious Thursday night game, you didn't see him in the game. You saw, I think, Beck. I don't know who that guy is, but he's the new starting tight end. Sorry. Drop him. Drop him, Alberto. He's horrible. I know you didn't even draft him, so you probably know who it is. All right, next up, Cole. Your team's really bad, all right? Team's really bad. You have some good pieces, but you have no depth, and you have starters that should not be starters. What does that mean? You're going to have to do an Ethan 3-for-1 trade. You give up Kelsey, you give up one of your big names for 2 to 3 guys who can start. You're not going to get a lot of like great guys for Kelsey, but if you can get 3 guys who you're going to put up 15 points, so much better than who you're starting right now. Moving on to Ethan. Ethan, I mean, I'm just going to say it. Your quarterback play is horrible. Drop Hurts. I mean, he scored under 20 points. That is not worthy of a starter. I would drop him immediately, maybe even trade him to me. The other thing is, dude, get off your soapbox with the Bears. You have like 4 Bears rostered on your team. It's ridiculous. You keep starting them. You keep losing. You finally bench Mooney. Good job. Montgomery got hurt. So, I mean, that was a bummer. So that's like the only way you're getting away from these Bears is injury or like you're finally moving on. And then you go ahead and start the Bears defense. They're just a bad organization. Drop them. Leave them in the dust. You don't need those guys you don't need that team anywhere near your fantasy squad. It's the reason you're in last place, and that is why. The Bears. Next up, I have Grant. Honestly, I don't really have much there. Your team looks really good. You scored 170 without Swift. You're going to be just fine. You're going to be just fine. I'm not going to do anything for me. All right, next up, Jarvis. I don't know who T. Hudson is on the Giants, the tight end, but drop him. He has like no points in the entire season. Like, no one has a clue who that guy is. With Schultz, just bench him till Dak is back. Schultz is a great tight end. I think he's going to do really well this season. But Cooper Rush, whoever's quarterback right now for the Cowboys, they don't throw it to Schultz. So just drop him. Just wait. You got to be patient. Played 90% of snaps for 2 games, and then he missed a game for injury, and he has 3 points to show for across 2 games. Don't play him. Just bench him. Moving on to Matt. Matt, you also have tight end problems. No surprise. I mean, that's what happens when we waited so long. But just go ahead and drop Logan Thomas. He's hurt. This happens every season. You'll get 3 or 4 games out of him. Then he gets a hamstring injury or a concussion. Done for the season. Not going to get back the same. Just get the next guy. But your team is, I think, really good. I don't really know why you're 1-3. I know you had a slow start, but you have the names on your team, and they performed really well finally in week 4. So I think you're poised for a nice bounce back season. I think you'll definitely finish 500 or above. Mike, like we talked about earlier, you really light on the receiving room. So just find someone who needs running backs. You have so many good running backs on your bench. Just trade. Just do a 1-for-1 or a 2-for-2 running back receiver swap. You're gonna be good to go. Noah, I mean, at some point you're gonna realize Aaron or Allen Robinson is not the guy. Like, just drop him or bench him or whatever. Put in Alec Pierce. You have a really clear decision in front of you. Alec Pierce is really good. I think you're right about him being receiver 1 over Pittman. I know that's kind of a joke, but like I think he's going to put up similar stats for us this season. Matt Ryan really likes him. And then eventually you're going to have to find the courage to bench Kyle Pitts. Like, I know I loved him and I wanted him at the beginning of the season. I don't think he's good. Falcons don't really use him that well. I wish we did. But we'll see moving forward. I hope he does well for the Falcons' sake. But you got to find an alternate. And I know Pitts' injury is forcing you into that. I think that's going to help your team. Next up, Parker, you have Russell Wilson on your team still. And I know I'm filming this after the just goose egg of a game of Thursday Night Football. So it's easy for me to sit here and say that Russ is not the guy. But they haven't looked good all season. They lost to the Seahawks. He's been mediocre. He put up 1 good game last week. But it's pretty clear he's not good this year. Do away with him. And then, like, drop him, pick up a backup running back. I think a backup handcuff of some sort is going to do you better. Zach, I mean, this is a joke. You're starting Ryan Tannehill this week. Ryan Tannehill has no weapons other than Robert Woods, who's also on your team. Titans are probably one of the worst teams in the league. I don't really know what you're doing. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't win another game until D-Hop comes back, but who knows? You are getting pretty unlucky with injuries. So I will give you that, and you did beat me last week. Congrats. But my team laid up 100 points, so, I mean, a win. I mean, a win's a win, but not pretty. And now moving into week 5 matchups. I have not looked at these at all, but I'm going to go ahead and just pick my winners. So Jake versus Noah, easily me. Ethan versus Matt. I think Matt's projections are way too high. I'm looking at 166 right now. I think no chance he puts up that number, but I think he'll win comfortably with like 150. Ethan will get lucky to score 125. Next up, we have Cole and Brandon. Brandon showed some life last week, and I also think Cole's projections are way too high. I think Brandon wins with like 135. I don't think Brandon's team's that good. 135 seems reasonable to beat Cole, who's going to put up like 100. Then we have Jarvis and Cece. I mean, I don't really know why Tyreek Hill or Higgins have Q tags on them right now, but if one of those don't play, you're in deep trouble, Jarvis. I'm going to take CC, especially with the revenge game of Mahomes and Chase playing against Jarvis. I mean, what could go wrong, Jarvis? Next up, we have Grant and Mike. I'm taking Mike. I think Mike's been very active this year, and I think that's going to pay off this week. Poised himself well. He does have 2 empty bench spots, so curious to see what he does there. And then lastly, we have Zach and Parker. And I'm going to go easy Parker right there. I mean, Tannehill is not going to do it. D Johnson, he has a new quarterback. Debo, he's really good. He's going to carve up the Panthers, but it's Debo and Chubb show. And Pratt Freiermuth has also been a really good pick, but everyone else is, pretty garbage on your team. I mean, I would start T-Law in a heartbeat, but that's just me. Anyway, all right, that wraps it up. That's a quick podcast, probably the fastest one I've ever done. Hopefully Grant edits this up so it looks and sounds good. But good luck, everyone, on week 5. This season's been very exciting so far, and I'm excited to finish it strong. Hopefully I don't get the podcast jinx. Like and subscribe. See you guys.